What up, everybody? What up, everybody? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of AC Reviews the World. I am your host, AC the Engineer. You know what episode it is? We are at episode 100. Yes, I said it. 100 episodes. It's been a long time. Grinding. You know, we got to stay consistent. As you can see, a little redecoration of the set. Shout out to my girlfriend right there. She gave me that sign. But man, it's a beautiful time. We are at episode 100. I ain't got much special planned. As you see, if you watched the very beginning, I did a new intro. And we're going to go over 6 stories instead of 4. But I am happy. I am truly happy that we have made it to episode 100. It just shows consistency. We're going to keep going. The number's going to keep going higher and higher. And then do some special episode 1,000. We'll see how we get into it. I'm trying to get into those One Piece numbers if you're a fan of anime. But hopefully everybody had a beautiful New Year's. It is the second day of the year. Remember drinking your water. But it's January 2nd, 2026. Second day of the year, y'all. Second day of the year. Hope everybody having a good start of their weekend. Hopefully, I was off today, so some other people might have had a good other time going to work, but I was off. But you know how we like to do it. We got a lot of crazy things to talk about. The world, no matter if it's a holiday, the world never stops. The craziness in the world never stops. And we got 6 topics we're going to go over today. A little longer because why not? It's the 100th episode. But remember, y'all, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you can be up to date on all the videos. But you know how I like to do it. Let's jump right into it.
Sensational.
Yes, because it's a sensational day because it's episode 100. But we got, like I said, we got 6 topics to go over. First one we're going to jump over into is we got a New Year's Eve terror plot that was stopped. So we're going to get over into that and see what we can figure out about that situation. Well, let's jump over into it and see what we can find out.
What else are we learning right now?
Yeah, this is a remarkable investigation that they've undergone here over the past several weeks. And this man very clearly was very close to actually committing this attack. Luckily, he was stopped by these undercover agents. This was an 18-year-old who investigators say was planning this attack specifically for about a year, but knew he wanted to plan an attack for several years. They say he was reading ISIS material online, making ISIS-related TikTok videos, and he was thought he was talking to ISIS. Instead, he was talking to undercover FBI and NYPD officers. They say he wanted to attack a grocery store and a fast food restaurant in his hometown of Mint Hill, North Carolina. That's a suburb of Charlotte. About 30,000 people live there. And he wanted to do it on New Year's Eve. They say he wanted to attack with knives and with hammers. And they say he had those knives and hammers in his possession under his bed, along with a number of notes about exactly word for word how he was going to carry this plan out. And I do want to read to you a quote from one of the investigators that just said that at the press conference, saying he was preparing for jihad and innocent people were going to die. They say it was a very well-planned, thoughtful attack. Now, this man is now charged as an adult criminally with preparing attempted material support to a foreign terrorist organization. That faces up to 20 years in prison, a $250,000 fine. They do also say, and this is interesting, something we'll have to do some more reporting on, they say he was tried to be brought in involuntarily to be committed by the local police, but a magistrate judge in that area said he was not able to do that. And so we'll have to see as to exactly why that was. And then, of course, the FBI stepped in here on New Year's Eve, arresting the man at his home in Mint Hill, North Carolina. There you have the first pictures of him there from the Gaston County Sheriff's Office. But all in all, hats off to the investigators here in North Carolina and the federal partners that they were working with to get this man off the streets.
And Gary, what I think is...
They said he was planning this. Now, I don't know if they mentioned the age, but he's 18 years old. That's why they would say he's charged as an adult. Yeah. There's some crazy people in this world. Let's keep going.
perhaps startling to people is he's 18 years old now, and authorities say that they've been tracking him since 2022. That would mean since he was either 14 or 15 years old. That's a long time to be tracking someone. We do know he made a court appearance this morning, was actually arrested a couple days ago, but all of this has been kept under wraps so far, right?
Yeah, it's all been kept under wraps because they wanted to make sure they had the information and they had the guy that they needed in this case. They wanted to make sure, of course, he was working on his own. And that's what we've seen so often in these cases over the past several years. Individuals that appear to be working on their own, these lone wolf attacks, we've seen them carried out in places like New Orleans, in places like San Bernardino, and in places in California at Tesla dealerships. We've seen these types of attacks carried out all over the place. This was a situation where it's so difficult to find these people because there's so many people online, so many people saying different things. Are they saying it in jest? Or are they really meaning it? This was clearly a situation where this individual was ready to attack, had all the plans, had everything he needed, and he'd been doing it for several years since he was 15 or 16 years old. Just a remarkable set of circumstances here, Joe.
We thank you.
They are 100% correct because it takes a lot to narrow down the right cases, but especially when you don't know, you gotta filter through all the trash and all the nonsense that's on the internet, and you gotta truly find the people who are really going to commit some crazy crimes. But like they said, he been on their watch list since what, 15, 16 years old? Where are the parents? Who is raising this young man to where he was? The parents have to know something. But let's get over into this next video and see if they give us any more details.
So right off the top, let's start with that breaking news out of North Carolina. A terror plot planned for New Year's Eve directly inspired to act by terror group ISIS. That plan thwarted by the men and women of the FBI. FBI Charlotte on X confirming this. They say law enforcement partners thwarted a potential terror attack on New Year's Eve in North Carolina. The subject was directly inspired to act by ISIS. Now, let's look at the suspect. According to the FBI, this is him, 18-year-old Christian Sturdivant. Authorities say he planned to attack people at a North Carolina fast food restaurant and then at a grocery store just outside of Charlotte. They say that he planned to use knives and hammers. Officers searched his home. They found details in a handwritten document titled New Year's Eve Attack. Authorities arrested Sturdivant on that night, New Year's Eve. Here's more.
I might be crazy, or I might be a sane person. Who writes a terror plot? I don't know if they truly meant he physically wrote New Year's Eve terror plot. Draw a line under it, but.
So Mr. Sturdivant started on the internet. He started reading ISIS material, started going to ISIS websites, making TikTok videos, and eventually reached out to what he thought was a member of ISIS. In reality, was an undercover agent with NYPD in New York. He pledged his allegiance to ISIS with that undercover agent, and he disclosed his plans to, quote, do jihad soon. He then met a second undercover with the FBI, who he also thought was an ISIS participant, and he started to be very specific with his plans. He talked with that undercover agent, again, who he thought was ISIS. He talked about where he was planning to do this attack, which was at a grocery store and a fast food restaurant in Mint Hill, places that we go every day and don't think that we may be harmed. He talked about what means he would use to kill innocent people. He said he was going to wear a Kevlar vest and attack people with knives and hammers. And of course, he talked about when he was going to carry out this attack, which was New Year's Eve.
So team coverage with CBS News Justice correspondent Scott McFarland and CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson. So let's begin with Scott. Scott, you're looking through these charging documents. What do they reveal?
A few things jump out at me in particular. First of all, let's just start with the age of this defendant. He just turned 18 a few weeks ago, and he first got on the radar of federal authorities when he was a 14-year-old based on some of his social media posts. He went quiet from social media after he was not charged as a 14-year-old. Then at some point in early December, a federal investigator or a local police investigator in New York spotted some TikTok messages attributed to Sturdivant, which caused alarm and seemed to declare some obedience to or loyalty to ISIS. What the feds are alleging here is that he was doing this in martyrdom for ISIS, making this a terrorism case or a material support of terrorism case in the U.S. District Court. Some of the allegations here are uniquely chilling. They just have a different way about them. They're alleging he was looking for a soft target. Grocery store, fast food place would be a uniquely soft target on New Year's Eve, when a grocery store or fast food place would be particularly full. That he's seeking to use the types of weapons you don't need a background check for, but that can be deadly. Knives and hammers. This is just a page out of the ISIS playbook, the feds say. This is the directive they're trying to give to would-be supporters in the West.
And active online at that. Scott McFarland, thank you so much. Okay, so let's go live now to CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson. Jessica, authorities have been saying
they said he started at 14 when he got, I'm assuming, in trouble online, but wasn't charged. But then from 14 to 18, he was just going quiet and just secretly going on chat rooms. And again, where are the parents at? Come on, let's keep going.
Been tracking this suspect since 2022, saying that he was in contact with an ISIS member on social media, as Scott just mentioned. So at what point can somebody's social media be used against them and then impact the legal outcome?
So generally speaking, social media will help to initiate an investigation, but it alone will not be enough. And you'll see exactly what we see here, meaning not enough for an arrest. You'll see, as Scott reported, as you've been reporting, that there was more. You have the suspect talking to undercover agents. You have the suspect being very specific about, these are the weapons that I want to use, this is where I want to use them, and this is the time I want to use them. Generally speaking, we want to be protective of online speech, even when we hate that speech. You have to have specifically something more where you feel like you're crossing the line from advocacy to a true threat. And generally, that something more happens off of social media. Just read, as we saw in this case.
Right, and it's fascinating to me, Jessica. They've been tracking this guy, this kid really, since he was 14 years old. Authorities mentioned it's easier to bring charges now that he's 18. Explain that to our viewers.
Good question.
So in part because the juvenile system is more geared towards rehabilitation than punishment. I know it seems strange, like we always have to draw lines. If you're 17 and a half, is it that much different than 18 in a day? And the answer is we have to draw the line somewhere. So what's different? You're in an adult court. There are federal charges that are available that generally we don't think are available to juveniles. There are terrorism charges that are available that we generally do not see apply to juveniles. So there are a lot more charges that are available, and you don't have the same concerns about a long pretrial detention. You don't have the same concerns about, frankly, a longer sentencing. It's easier for prosecutors to put somebody in the adult system. There are just so many tools that are options for them in this case.
Now, here's a question. So they said that they cut it off at a certain age, 17. Now, my question is, is it possible to separate it by not the age, but the crime itself? Because y'all know my saying, big boy crimes need big boy time. I don't want to hear any of that. If you're out here committing some crazy crimes, mass murders, all stuff like that, charge them as an adult. Get them off the street. Yes, it would be nice to be able to rehabilitate some of these kids, but some of these kids are too far gone. I mean, that might be just, I'm thinking, and I might just be looking at the glass half empty, but some of these kids are just too far gone. That's my thinking. But let's get over into a little, you know how I like to go to the AI breakdown just to see if we missed any details into it. So let's go over into it. So just a tad bit. So as you can see, I'm getting it right. So on January 2nd, federal authorities announced that disruption of an ISIS-inspired terror plot. So the identity, you got Christian, 18 years old. He is a U.S. citizen from Mint Hill, and he was arrested on Wednesday, December 31st, 2025. He was charged with attempting to provide materials support to foreign terrorist organization. He appeared in court Friday, today, and was remanded in the custody hearing. So, pending a hearing on January 7th. So the details of the plot, the suspect allegedly planned a New Year's Eve attack involving knives, hammers, and he specifically targeted Jews, Christian, LGBTQ individuals. They said that they found handwritten documents titled New Year's Attack 2026. It might be a kid thing. It might be I've watched too many movies, but why title your illegal documents when you're planning something crazy New Year's Attack 2026? But overall, I'm glad he was caught. So he was allegedly planning to stab up to 20 victims and attack responding officers. So the law enforcement seized several items from his house. That's 2 hammers, 2 butcher knives that were hidden under the bed, a tactical vest, mask, and gloves, and then notes describing operation intended to kill responding police officers. So he has been on the FBI's radar since 2022, like they mentioned, when he was a minor, around 14 years old. At that time, he was reportedly in contact with ISIS members in Europe who instructed him to attack people with hammer. While he was not charged then, he underwent psychological treatment, and he allegedly re-engaged with extremist content online. So in 2022, he was in contact with real terrorist people. But I guess he was just too young, and then they tried to rehabilitate him, but see how that went. In late 2025, he was in communication with 2 undercover officers, luckily, and he was arrested trying to plan a New Year's Eve attack. Tell me your thoughts, y'all. Do you think rehabilitation is an option for some of these kids? Should it be broken up from the age, or should it be broken up by the type of crime is committed? Absolutely crazy situation. Let me know your thoughts on it. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. Absolutely crazy. But let's pivot over into the next topic we're going to talk about today. More teens doing horrible things. So we got a teen who ends up killing his Uber driver. God be testing everybody. God be testing everybody. But let's get over into it and see what we can learn from this situation. And see if we can learn anything. But let's get over into it. Back that up.
Teenager faces a murder charge after a deadly carjacking of an Uber driver on New Year's Eve. I'm Blair Miller.
And I'm Carly Barnett. Residents found the victim early this morning in the street of a Lawrenceville neighborhood. Atlanta News First anchor Joe Gorcho reports from the Lawrenceville Police Department revealing how doorbell cameras helped police find the alleged killer.
Residents tell us that police came knocking on their door before 6 this morning asking to see any Ring camera footage. What Lawrenceville police say they saw was enough to track down the teenager they say is responsible. Crime scene tape covers driveways on the 600 block of Groveland Parkway in Lawrenceville.
I was shivering, and it was terrifying seeing a lifeless body just laying there.
Hugh Lee remembers being sound asleep when his father rushed into the house a little after 5 in the morning on New Year's Day.
Banged on everybody's door and told us to go ahead and call the cops.
Lee says his dad was loading things into his truck when he saw someone motionless face down in the middle of the street. Once on the scene, Lawrenceville police say the 58-year-old victim was shot at least once. Then police gathered video evidence from neighboring Ring cameras showing a black SUV stopping in the street and then dropping the victim in the road and then leaving. Police later determined the victim was an Uber driver who was violently carjacked.
I mean, even my wife here, she hasn't been able to walk outside and not see the stain there. You know, it's so jarring.
Police say the doorbell video helped to identify the victim's vehicle. They tracked it about 20 minutes away to a residence in Lilburn on Hardwood Circle. It's where police say they then took the 15-year-old suspect into custody around 1 in the afternoon. And that teenager will be charged as an adult with murder. Uber did share with us this statement, quote, "We're saddened by this devastating loss, and our condolences go out to the driver's family during this incredibly difficult time."
At 15 years old, you're carjacking and murdering an Uber driver. At 15. I said it before, where are the parents? If someone's committing these heinous crimes that early on, the parents have to be to blame. Or do you think that it's just a ingrained thing? Is it just someone can be born that would do something this horrible? Let's keep going.
As for Lee and others in that neighborhood, their peace and sense of safety are lost for the moment.
So to see that, and to see that this could have been somebody's grandfather or somebody's father, it's heartbreaking. Uber did tell us that they have banned that rider's account, and at this time, police have yet to share the identity of both the victim and the suspect in this.
So I'm assuming he called an Uber to, the whole plan was to carjack the Uber that he called. Let's keep going. Let's go over to this next video.
Lawrenceville police have just identified the 15-year-old suspect who they say shot and killed an Uber driver on New Year's Day. Good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Alex Whitler. Fox 5's Ray Urena joins us live on Groveland Parkway, where the shooting just happened.
Alex, a day later, and I just want to show you and the viewers at home that there is still crime scene tape wrapped around this cable box in this neighborhood that's off of Old Snellville Highway. Police are telling me that they're calling this a senseless act. And one neighbor told me earlier this morning that he woke up on New Year's Day to find a man's body just lying outside of his doorway. In a news conference that happened within the past hour, Lawrenceville police have identified 15-year-old Christian Simmons as their suspect in this case. Captain Dina Pauly says Simmons is facing a murder charge and is being charged as an adult. She also identified the victim as 58-year-old Cesar Tejada of Grayson. Police say Tejada was working as a driver for Uber at about in the early morning of New Year's Day when he picked up a customer from Rangewood Drive in Lilburn to drive them to the 600 block of Groveland Parkway. Investigators say a ring camera video showed the customer getting out of the backseat of a black SUV and walked to the driver's side door where Tejada was shot. Police say Tejada was taken out of the car and the alleged shooter drove away. However, they say that car returned to the neighborhood before heading back to Lilburn. Pauly says investigators used data from Uber as well as flock cameras to identify Simmons as their suspect.
Detectives were able to identify a possible suspect that lived in the area where they placed officers in front of the home. And at that time, the suspect exited the home, began walking down the road, and we were able to take the suspect into custody.
Police say other than working for Uber, Tejada had no other connections to this neighborhood, and Tejada, of course, is the victim in this case. We'll have more this afternoon on Fox 5 News, but for now, reporting live in Lawrenceville, Ray Urena.
The world is becoming a crazy, dangerous place. You can't even be an Uber driver anymore without you being scared when these criminals come out of nowhere and shoot you. Let's go into this next video.
Breaking now at noon, police are identifying the 58-year-old man who was the victim of a deadly carjacking on New Year's Day. I'm Saria Sandlin.
And I'm Brooks Baptiste. The 15-year-old is being charged with murder in this incident. Atlanta News First, Mary Kate Hamilton is live at the Lawrenceville Police Department, where she just got new details from police. Mary Kate.
That's right. Well, Lawrenceville police say the victim, now being identified as Cesar Tejada, actually lives in Grayson, Georgia, and was just out on New Year's Eve trying to make some extra money driving Uber to provide for his 2 kids and his wife. Now, police say that with the help of flock technology and with Uber's help, they were able to piece together a timeline. At 4:13 on New Year's Day, Tejada went to pick up a customer on Rangewood Drive in Lilburn. That was the 15-year-old suspect, who is now also being identified as Christian Simmons. He ordered the Uber to go to the 600 block of Groveland Parkway in Lawrenceville. Well, that's when police say Simmons got out of the back seat, shot Tejada, and pushed him out of the driver's seat, then drove away in Tejada's car, leaving him dead on the road. Police say there was no evidence of any altercation and no evidence of any motive, other than that the 15-year-old wanted the car.
Tejada has no connection. His connection, he lives in Grayson. He was just out trying to make extra.
What was the plan after you take? Oh,
extra money for his family. It's a senseless act, and not the way any family would want to start a new year.
Lawrenceville police say after Simmons left Tejada's body in the neighborhood, he actually circled back to the neighborhood about 10 minutes later, but then ended up driving right back to the location in Lilburn where Tejada had originally picked him up.
Apparently he has friends in the neighborhood, but there was nothing to indicate that he made contact with any of the residents in the neighborhood.
Again, police found 15-year-old Simmons right back there at his home in Lilburn. They say when they encountered him, initially there was some fight back, but he was taken into custody and will be tried as an adult. This investigation is still ongoing. We'll continue to track.
I'm happy. I'm happy that they're charging him as an adult because I've said it before and I'm going to keep saying it. Big boy crimes need big boy times. I'm tired of these slap on the wrist stuff just because they think they're juveniles. But let's get over, I like to do the AI breakdown so we can see a little bit more information about it. So as they know, they talked about the victim is 58-year-old Cesar of Grayson, Georgia, and was working as an Uber driver to support his family. So the 15-year-old Christian of Georgia is being held and charged as an adult after completing a 10-mile ride from to the destination around 4:13. He allegedly shot him in the back with a .22 caliber semi-automatic pistol, pulled him from the SUV, and drove off. The police say the only motive is because he wanted the SUV. It was a senseless act. He used so the investigators used a combination of technologies, doorbell footage, and Uber issued a statement. Of course they're not going to show us who this downright lowlife is because he's 15 years old. But what was his plan? He shot him and then drove back to the house where he picked it was just send them to jail. Send these people to jail. I'm tired of looking at them. I'm tired of thinking about them. Because if they don't care about my life or care about anybody else's life, why should I care about theirs? They're going to end up trying to be somebody's boyfriend, and we're not even going to talk about that. But they need to be in jail for the rest of their life. Anybody who does any senseless crime like this. It's a crazy situation. He was just trying to make some money for his family. You think you're doing one last ride for the night or maybe even a few more after this, but you get shot in the back by a 15-year-old who wants your SUV and doesn't even have a place to take it. They found him going back to his house. The world is a crazy place, y'all. The world is a crazy place, but let me know your thoughts on that situation. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. We're going to pivot over into the next topic we're going to be talking about today. The next topic, and that is we got to go to Philly. We got to go to Philly where a deadly triple shooting happened on New Year's Day. A lot of things happened in Philly. But let's get over into it. I believe they have made arrest of the people suspected of doing the killing. So we'll get into that as well. And then, of course, we'll do the AI breakdown. But absolutely crazy. Let's get into it.
A triple shooting in Northeast Philly leaves 2 men dead and another in the hospital. Their family starting off the new year on a very difficult note. Our Jennifer Lee is live at police headquarters. And Jen, you were in touch with one of the victims' family?
Yes, that's right. Philadelphia police have not identified any of the shooting victims, but I did have a chance to speak with one family member. He shared some very kind words about his loved one and says this is a terrible loss for his family. A family member providing us with this picture of Louis Colon, described as a man who loved his family and was always helpful to others. The family member says Colon, in his mid-50s, was killed in a shooting just feet away from his home in Philadelphia's Oxford Circle neighborhood. Police responded to the shooting just after 11 a.m. New Year's Day. Neighbors on Oakland Street say they heard arguing, followed by gunfire.
It happened this morning. Everybody thought it was fireworks at first.
So I came to the door here and I saw the black Chrysler taken off. and I came over and I grabbed Paul because I opened my door and I said, Louie's down on the ground.
He ran down to see if he could help, but he was already gone.
He was a good friend of mine. He's a nice guy. He texted me last night, Happy New Year's. You know, I texted him back, so what are you going to do?
An eyewitness snapped this photo of a black Chrysler speeding away after a gunshot victim was pulled into the car. We reached out to police to see if the car is part of the investigation. Police say 2 male victims were taken to Temple University Hospital by private car. They say 1 victim was pronounced dead shortly after arriving. PPD says that private car is being held by police. A family member says Cologne was pronounced dead at Jefferson Torresdale Hospital. Neighbors say Cologne was always friendly and helpful. They say he'll be greatly missed.
Louis would do anything for anybody. I mean, he helps all the neighbors out.
I feel bad for his family, but I also feel bad for everybody involved, not just his family, the other people too, because there's somebody somewhere that just lost another son.
It was just a sad event, a terrible way to start off the new year.
PPD says homicide detectives are investigating. If you have any information about this triple shooting, reach out to police at 215-686-10.
Now we don't have to worry because the people who suspected of doing this have been caught. So let's get over into that video.
Big story on Action News this noon is arrests made in connection with a deadly New Year's Day shooting in Northeast Philadelphia.
Authorities there announced this morning that Cara Williams-Reeve and Tyreek Williams are both in custody and charged with murder. Investigators say they both played a role in a shootout that left 2 people dead.
Action News reporter Elizabeth Worthington is live at the scene on the 7100 block of Oakland Street with more on the victims and the confrontation that led to that deadly gunfire. Elizabeth.
Yes, Aaron, Christy, the street is quiet today, but neighbors described a really chaotic scene here yesterday, just after 11 o'clock, that unfolded on New Year's Day. You can still see a piece of crime tape and a medical glove lying in the street here yesterday. One of the men who was shot and killed on this street lived on this block for years, and everyone we've talked to said he was a really good person who did not deserve this. Investigators say it all started when 4 people showed up to the home of 52-year-old Louis Cologne on the 7100 block of Oakland Street to confront his stepdaughter. Police say the offenders were family members of her ex-boyfriend, who was not present at the scene. The confrontation turned violent when police say 44-year-old Cara Williams-Reeves and another unidentified woman began assaulting Cologne's stepdaughter and his wife on their front lawn. When Cologne tried to intervene, police say 21-year-old Kadir Tull and Tyreek Williams pulled out guns. Investigators say Cologne then pulled out his own gun and a shootout ensued.
You don't come to somebody's house and start shooting people. I mean, it was uncalled for.
Cologne, Tull, and Williams were all shot. Cologne was taken to the hospital by police, where he passed away. Police say Tull and Williams were driven to Temple University Hospital by the car they showed up in at Cologne's house. Tull died. Williams suffered a gunshot wound to the hand. He and Cara Williams-Reeves were arrested and charged with murder. Neighbors say Cologne lived on the block for years and was known as a generous man.
Where me and my next door neighbor, we're going to go down tomorrow morning. We're going to go talk to the family. We want to give them a little time to, be by themselves. Yeah. But
so hold on. So your stepdaughter, family members of your stepdaughter's ex-boyfriend came to confront your stepdaughter. They got into a fight. You, as the stepfather, of course, going to jump in, try to break it up. People nowadays, especially young people, especially young people, don't like to fight with their hands. So they pull out a gun, shootout happens, and people died. The world is a crazy place.
Whatever they need, everybody's here to help them. It's rough. I mean, it was his stepdaughter. So she's taking it hard.
Now, these deaths mark the first 2 homicides recorded in the city of Philadelphia in 2026, and it all happened before noon on New Year's Day. We're live here in Northeast Philadelphia. Elizabeth Worthington, Channel 6.
Absolutely crazy. It is a tragic situation at that, but let's get over, and you know how we got to do the AI breakdown. Let's get over into it. Let's Okay, so as we know, it happened on the 7100 block of Oakland Street, New Year's Day. So the violence reportedly began with a physical confrontation on the front lawn of the family members related to the stepdaughter's ex-boyfriend. I want to know how old the stepdaughter is. I don't know if they'll give us that information. I'll look and see. But when 52-year-old Lewis attempted to intervene to protect his family, which you would, and he was confronted with 2 armed men, leading to a shootout. He pulled out his gun, suffered multiple gunshot wounds to the chest, and was pronounced dead at Jefferson's Hospital. I'm not even going to try to say the name. One of the alleged attackers suffered multiple gunshot wounds and was pronounced dead at Temple University Hospital. And then Tariq sustained a gunshot wound to the hand and is in stable condition. So arrest and charges. So Philadelphia police have arrested 2 individuals in connection with the fatal encounter. So that's that Kara Wees, 44, and Tariq Williams were charged on Friday, today, with murder and other related charges. I wonder how, let me see. See if they give us anything. How old was the stepdaughter? That's the main thing. Let's see, how old is he? While current reports from the early 2026 identify the stepdaughter to her age is not specifically, has been released for public record. Okay, we don't know anything about so one of them was 21. He's dead. The 20. So most likely this is just my inference. The daughter is around 20, 21 years old, probably a little bit older than that. I wonder why because they didn't mention the boyfriend coming. I wonder why the boyfriend didn't show up, or the ex-boyfriend. Why did they come to start a fight? Why did they come and start a fight in the first place? There's a lot of questions, and we probably won't get the answers, but 2 more deranged, crazy people are off the street. It's a crazy situation. Golly. He tried to protect his own stepdaughter, but ended up dying over stupid reasons. I'm happy that they have been caught and they're going to face the punishment for their actions. Absolutely crazy situation, y'all. Let me know your thoughts on that situation. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. It's a crazy world. But we got to review the world together. We have to review the world together. We're going to pivot into our next topic for today. We're doing more than 4 topics today. We're going to do 6. So we're going to pivot over into our next one, number 4. And we got a missing 4-year-old has been found. Sadly, she was found. Sadly, her remains were found. It's a tragic situation, but we got to go into it and see what we can learn from this situation. It's always tragic when a child has been killed. But let's get over into the mentioning that she was missing, and then we'll get over into the breaking news where her body was found, or his body was found, the 4-year-old boy. Let's jump over into it.
Well, this morning, the search picked back up for a missing boy in Walker County. This is 4-year-old Jonathan Boley. He was last seen about 48 hours ago. WBTM 13's Lisa Crane is there right now at the scene where search efforts are underway. Lisa, what's going on today?
Well, he's been very busy here. We're on Highway 195 in Walker County, and 4-year-old John Boley was at his dad's house, which is just across the road here. You can almost see the roof there through the trees there. When he disappeared on Wednesday, authorities have been launching drones. You can see there are searchers too right down the road here. You can see them in the orange vest there. They have been pouring into this area to help search for John Boley. Now, they are getting a lot of help. As I mentioned, dozens and dozens of volunteers pouring into this area to help in the search, covering hundreds of acres around the father's home. This is a very wooded rural area. Authorities are using dogs, divers, helicopters, and ATVs to look for this 4-year-old missing boy. Fire crews from Cahaba Valley, Irondale, Pelham, Rocky Ridge, and Vestavia also assisting in the hunt. ALEA officers are actually positioned just down the road here. They've set up a roadblock. They are stopping every car that comes through to show them a picture of John, asking everyone if they have seen this 4-year-old little boy, as well as his dog that's also missing with him. Now, John's father, Jamison Boley, was taken into custody yesterday when authorities thought they had found explosives on his property. They later determined they were not explosives. We have just learned, though, that he has been charged with a chemical endangerment of a child charge, and he was originally charged with unlawful manufacturing of a destructive device. Now, Walker County Sheriff Nick Smith is planning to update us on this case at noon, so just under an hour away, at a church just down the road here that's kind of serving as a staging area for everyone who's involved in this search. We're going to bring you any new information that we learned during that press conference at noon on our website and our app. Live in Walker County, Lisa Crane, WVTM 13.
All right, Lisa, thanks so much. We appreciate you staying on top of that. Well, you may be wondering why this case did not issue or trigger an Amber Alert. Well, an Amber Alert must meet all of these criteria. First of all, law enforcement can confirm that a child has been abducted. The child is under the age of 18. They are also at risk of serious bodily harm or death. Also, there's a good description of the child, the abductor, and or suspect's mode of transportation. This allows for critical data, including names of the child.
So it wasn't issued an Amber Alert. Let's get over into this next video where they talk about the child bodies being found.
Authorities say they found the body of a 4-year-old boy who was reported missing on New Year's Eve day. That's December 31st. Let's get right to NBC News correspondent George Solis. George, this was an urgent days-long search now with a tragic ending. What more should we know?
Yeah, Clay, it really is just one of those stories that gets you and rips you to your core here. The sheriff of this county briefing the press a little bit ago with this really tragic update, thanking the volunteers first for their countless hours out there in all sorts of conditions trying to search for 4-year-old Jonathan Boley. As you mentioned, he was reported missing Wednesday by his father. You see the volunteers there searching some of that terrain. Let's get right to what the sheriff said just moments ago.
Like so many of you across our community, we're devastated, and we're devastated by this news. Jonathan was an adventurous boy, and he loved the outdoors. I ask you to be respectful to the family. You know, this is going to be a very hard time. It's going to be a very hard time for our community.
As in Clay, and this announcement from the sheriff here, Nick Smith, comes only hours after he addressed the media earlier this morning, telling people to leave no stone unturned, to look at their property, to look at ring cameras, tree stands, anything in the hopes of finding this young boy. He had mentioned that he had been traveling with his dog, his Labrador mix, Bucks. There was a big hope that they would still be together. And tragically, Zing Clay, the sheriff announcing that they did find that dog, Buck. He was still with Jonathan when they found him. Zing Clay.
Just devastating, George. And briefly, I know we reported.
They said the dog was still with the man's best friend.
Earlier that the boy's father was facing charges for a separate incident. What did authorities say about that?
Yeah, the sheriff not getting into too much detail about this, but NBC News obtained court documents. The father was initially taken into custody for explosives that were found at the home. Those charges were later amended because authorities say they found basically drug-making material, drugs, at the home as well. And so he was also charged with child endangerment for exposing his children to meth. But there's obviously a lot more to that part of the investigation. Right now, the sheriff focusing on this particular tragic updates in Clay.
We thank you for.
It's a tragic situation no matter what. And it's even harder hearing that the dog was still with the body. Well, let's get over into the AI breakdown, how I like to do it, and just go into it. So as we know, on January 2nd, today, the body of the 4-year-old Jonathan was found in Walker County, Alabama, following a search that began on New Year's Eve. The child was found about 2 miles from his father's home of Jasper. Discovery, a volunteer conducted a grid search, locating Jonathan's body near a creek and heavy wooded area. The family dog, his dog Buck, who had disappeared with him, was found alive next to the boy's body. next to the boy's body, which is not surprising because dogs would do that. Especially your pet, they will stay with the body. You've seen videos of, especially when someone dies and they go into the funeral, the dog is there. The dog wants to get into the coffin with them. Absolutely tragic. So foul play. So initial reports from the sheriff indicated that there were no immediate signs of foul play, suggesting that the boy may have wandered off while playing with his brother. So the father, as we know, they talked about the father being arrested. He faces charges, chemical endangerment of a child and unlawful manufacturing of destructive devices. Reason for arrest: law enforcement discovered explosive material and methamphetamines in and around the home during the search of his son. So legal status: a judge set his bond at $300,000, citing him to be a danger to the community. So he was first arrested Thursday after explosive materials were found at his home. So Jonathan lived in Florida with his mother and was visiting his father for 5 days visitation period at the time he disappeared. A vigil for the child schedule is at 7 p.m. today. 5 days. That's how long he was away from his mother. For 5 days during a visitation period. So right now they're not issuing anything saying any foul play. He might have just wandered around, but I want to know what the cause of death is. Oh, it's going to take a while for us to figure that out, but maybe it could be a week, it could be 2 days. We don't know how long it's going to take for us to find out how he died. But depending on how he died, more charges will come for the father. And now they said that they mentioned the father had methamphetamine around his home. I wonder if he was just high, didn't notice. How does that play into account for his parenting skills? It's a tragic situation. 4 years old. I can't imagine how the mother is feeling. Oh, the mother. Let your son go with the father for 5 days. And he ends up dead. It's a tragic situation, but these are the kind of stuff that we got to review together. At the end of the day, please look after your kids. Please look after your kids. Absolutely crazy situation, y'all. Let me know your thoughts on the situation. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. Do you think the father had anything to do with it? Does the methamphetamine play into a part? We just got to wait for more information to come out from when the autopsy done. Absolute tragic situation, y'all. Tragic situation, but we got to pivot over into the next topic, which is just as tragic. Just as tragic, and instead of a father, it's a mother. We're going to go over into a mother of a 3-year-old has been charged for the murder. So let's get over into it and see what we can find out about this whole situation. See if we can make any sense of it. The world is a crazy place. The world is a crazy place. Let's get into it.
Tonight, a mom is facing murder charges after Columbus police found her 3-year-old girl dead. 41-year-old Sharon Sakalos is now behind bars. Police say her daughter died at a home in South Columbus around 5:30 last night. 10 TV's Lacey Chris spoke with neighbors, and she joins us live from Columbus Police headquarters. This heartbreaking, Lacey.
It really is, and according to a police report, the mother admitted to detectives that she suffocated the girl on purpose.
She's 3. She was very, very bright. She was a very, very sweet girl, and we really liked her.
Tristan Price lived across from 41-year-old Sharon Sakulos for the past year and a half.
Knew in our gut that she was not a good person, not a good parent.
Neighbors tell me when Columbus police showed up last night, they had a bad feeling about what had happened.
The cops come to us. We're like, hey, like, we can watch the baby. Like, you know, if mom's going to jail, like, we've watched her before. We'll watch her again. He's like, the baby's gone to the hospital. He didn't specify that she was dead. He's like, I don't know if you guys believe in prayer, but definitely pray. And it was just it just shook us a lot.
The details are heartbreaking. According to a police report, Columbus police tried to revive Cassidy Sakulos until Columbus Fire arrived and took her to the hospital where she was pronounced dead. Neighbors say they saw Sakulos outside while police were inside the home.
We seen her out there standing kind of stoic and calm, smoking a cigarette. Like, way too calm.
According to court records, medical personnel told homicide detectives Cassidy had signs of bruising. When detectives interviewed Sakulos, according to court documents, she admitted she suffocated Cassidy. Court records say she told detectives she put a plastic bag over Cassidy's head and that her intention was to kill Cassidy.
I'm sorry for the dad.
And
a mother. She said she put a plastic. Oh, God. The devil is among us.
Sakulos is scheduled to be in court tomorrow. Reporting live, Lacey Crisp, 10 TV News.
Let's get over into this next video and see if they give us any more details.
Continuing coverage this afternoon, a judge set a $2 million bond this morning for a Columbus woman accused of murdering her 3-year-old daughter on New Year's Eve.
I've said this plenty of times. I don't care. Maybe, I guess it's that's how the law is, but some of these crazy crimes don't deserve bond. Killing kids, assaulting kids. Let's keep.
21-year-old Sharon Sakulos was arrested after police found her daughter Cassidy not breathing. According to court documents, she admitted to suffocating her child. 10 TV's Carla Rogner was in the courtroom this morning and has the latest information on the case.
Sharon Sakulos appeared virtually in court this morning as the judge issued that $2 million bond. Sakulos frowned during the arraignment but did not show any other emotion. According to the prosecution, Sakulos has a criminal history, including 2 assaults in 2020. We also learned she has a history of mental health issues, including bipolar disorder. This is the home where police found 3-year-old Cassidy unresponsive. Prosecutors said she had visible bruising and Sharon admitted to hurting her.
The defendant stated it was her intention to kill her child when she placed the bag over her child's head. Given the nature of the offense, I would be asking for an extremely high bond.
The child's father was in court and did not want to speak to us. The judge ordered the mother to stay away from the home where the child died and all minors. We also learned in court this morning that Sharon has another child, a 13-year-old, who lives with a different father who has full custody. The judge ordered her to stay away from that child as well. Reporting at the court.
Now that said something right there. So the father of her other child had full custody. Now I would like to know how that came about, because it's hard to get a man to get full custody. Takes a lot. Either the woman didn't want it, or didn't want any custody rights at all, or they were taken away from her. But absolutely crazy situation, y'all. Let's go over into this. Oh, no. Let's go over into the article to break down and see if we missed anything. But overall, it's a tragic situation. Absolutely tragic. And she deserves to be in jail for the rest of her life. I don't understand how the father would just be sitting there quietly. Maybe he doesn't want to react, because he knew if he does, he wouldn't be able to stop himself. Crazy situation. Absolutely crazy. Let's get over into, what is this? Let's get over into this little AI breakdown just so we can see a little bit more information about it. So as we know, January 2nd, a 41-year-old mother, Sharon, was charged with murder following the death of her 3-year-old, Cassidy. So police responded to around 5:30 on New Year's Eve for reports of a child not breathing. So she called. Cause of death, Cassidy was pronounced dead. At the Nationwide Children's Hospital, police stated that the mother admitted to suffocating the child with a plastic bag with the intent to kill her. A judge set her bond at $2 million today. She is prohibited for any contact with her minors, including her 13-year-old child. So criminal history and background. This is a good part. So has a history of mental health and legal issues that were disclosed during court proceeding. So previous assaults. She was previously involved in 2 felony assault charges, including a 2020 incident where she allegedly threw a cleaning agent into a police officer's face. In December 2022, she was found incompetent to stand trial and underwent treatment at a behavioral health care hospital before pleading guilty in July 2023. So witnesses accounts. So neighbors described the mother as appearing reactionless and smoking a cigarette outside while the emergency responders attempted to save the toddler. Absolutely crazy. Now, if she had all these mental problems in the first place, I wonder why she had custody of her Cassidy in the first place. Why didn't the father take full custody? Was he not as stable enough to have full custody like the first father? Did he not care as much, or was she fighting harder to keep her 3-year-old with her? It's a lot of questions. And overall, it's a tragic situation. A 3-year-old has lost her life. A 3-year-old has lost her life. And the mother has plenty of problems where it raises questions why she had the child in the first place. Absolutely crazy situation, y'all. Let me know your thoughts on that situation. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. Absolutely crazy. But we're going to pivot over into the last topic we're going to be talking about today. The last topic. And we got to get over into this is a little lighter. Not young kids, but Tommy Lee Jones. I don't know. I'm assuming y'all know who that is. Tommy Lee Jones' daughter. So she was found dead. And I don't know the whole situation, but it says it's some questions. So we're going to get over into this video, and then of course we'll do the AI breakdown for the summary. But absolutely tragic. Let's get over into it. It's hard. That's a pain that I hope to never experience. A father outliving their children, or a mother outliving their children. It's absolutely tragic. Let's get over into it.
Tommy Lee Jones is mourning the loss of his daughter. The Men in Black star's daughter, Victoria Jones, was found dead in the early hours of January 1st in a San Francisco hotel room. TMZ, citing law enforcement sources, reported she was 34. According to the outlet, Victoria's cause of death has not yet been determined, and the investigation is ongoing. E! News has reached out to reps for Tommy Lee regarding Victoria's death, but has not yet heard back. From a young age, Victoria, whom Tommy Lee shares with ex-Kimberly Claughley, followed in her father's Hollywood footsteps. At just 11 years old, she made her on-screen debut alongside her dad and Will Smith in Men in Black 2 in 2002. Later, the father-daughter duo worked together again on The Three Burials of Melquiades Estrada, which hit the big screen in 2006. Telling New Yorker at the time, her dad said, quote, "She's a good actress, has her SAG card, speaks impeccable Spanish." Victoria also appeared in an episode of One Tree Hill and Tommy Lee's The Homesman before retiring from acting in 2014.
Tragic situation. Let's get over into this next video where they talk about there's some shocking mysteries. Let's get over into it.
The sudden death of Victoria Jones, daughter of Hollywood icon Tommy Lee Jones, is now surrounded by new and troubling details. According to a report by the Daily Mail, what began as a suspected medical emergency inside a luxury San Francisco hotel has quickly turned into a mystery that investigators are still trying to unravel. As reported by the Daily Mail, Victoria Jones, 34, was found lying unresponsive on the 14th floor of the Fairmont San Francisco Hotel on New Year's Day. A guest who discovered her initially believed she had passed out from drinking and immediately alerted hotel staff. Hotel staff reportedly began CPR and called emergency services right away. However, despite their efforts, paramedics pronounced Victoria dead at the scene. According to the San Francisco Police Department, officers arrived at the hotel around 3:14 a.m. following a report of a medical emergency. In a statement shared by police and cited by the Daily Mail, authorities said there were no signs of foul play and no drug paraphernalia was discovered at the scene. Investigators also stated there was no immediate indication that Victoria's death was a suicide. Victoria Jones was the daughter of No Country for Old Men actor Tommy Lee Jones and his former wife, Kimberly Claughley. She appeared on screen alongside her father as a child and briefly pursued acting before stepping away from the public spotlight. However, records obtained by the New York Post revealed that Victoria had faced legal troubles in the year leading up to her death. In April, she was arrested in Napa County on charges including obstructing a peace officer, being under the influence of a controlled substance, and possession of a narcotic-controlled substance. Court documents cited by the Post further show that she was arrested again in May in Santa Cruz County. In June, she was once more taken into custody in Napa County on charges including domestic battery and domestic violence or elder abuse. She was later released on bail and pleaded not guilty in both Napa County cases. Authorities have not indicated whether these past incidents are connected in any way to her death. According to police, the investigation remains ongoing as officials wait for medical findings to provide clarity on what truly happened. As questions continue to mount, this case highlights how quickly tragedy can strike, even within Hollywood's most famous families. Until the medical examiner releases final results, the death of Victoria Jones remains an unanswered mystery, one that continues to shock and sadden those following the story.
Yep. So we're not going to watch the whole video of this. Let's get over into the little AI breakdown so we can get a little bit more information, or just see any more information if we missed anything. So as we know, Victoria Jones, 34-year-old daughter of Tommy Lee Jones, was found dead on the first day of the year at a Fairmount hotel in San Francisco. Her body was discovered in a hotel hallway early on New Year's Day. And while official autopsy results are pending, local authorities are treating the case as a suspected accidental drug overdose. So key details. So emergency services were called at 2:52 a.m. A hotel ghost found her unresponsive on the 14th floor. The bystander and the hotel staff did CPR. However, she was pronounced dead at the scene at 3:14. So although not officially confirmed, 911 dispatcher audio referred to the emergency as a code 3 for overdose, noting discoloration of the skin. So official investigation, the office of the chief medical examiner and the San Francisco police are conducting investigations, though no foul play is suspected. Sources familiar with the investigation said the death was being treated as an accidental overdose. Absolutely tragic situation. But it sounds like just in her past, she was dealing with drug abuse, drug problems, and drug abuse problems. It's a tragic thing. It's a tragic thing, especially for when it's your kid going through it. But maybe it's my thinking, but especially if you had a kid, a child, or anybody in your life going through drug difficulties with drugs, drug abuse, drug problems, you tend to prepare yourself for the possibility of the worst case situation to occur. You hope for the best, but you prepare for the worst. It's a tragic situation that his daughter died, and I'm believing that he's probably going through some of the worst pains he's ever imagined. But hopefully we'll get more information come out about the cause of death, or they make an official statement. Drugs, the drug problem in America is what it is, a problem in America. And it affects everyone. Oh, see, I always do that. It affects everyone. It affects kids, it affects adults, it affects old people. And then especially when they start mixing in other things into the drugs, to where it just becomes more deadlier and not even... It's a problem in the United States that needs to be handled, and we need to take the problem seriously. If you're dealing with problems, please go seek help, because the worst possible thing can happen is you die and your family is grieving for you. Absolutely crazy situation. Your daughter dies on the first of the year. Absolutely crazy situation. Y'all let me know your thoughts on it. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. It's an absolutely crazy situation. But it's stuff, what I say, we got to review the world together, y'all. We have to review the world together. Now, remember, y'all, that is it for the show. Remember, this is, what that's when I say AC Reviews the World. This is AC Reviews the World, and I am your host, AC the Engineer. And we got to review the world together, y'all. We have to review the world together. But this was the end of episode 100. Makes the 100th episode that we've been here talking about some crazy news. Go back and look at the beginning. I have a new intro coming out. I'm debating on if I want to have that little video. It's like a 45, 50-second video. If I should start doing that, like that'd be my the last thing after when I break down these videos. After each video would play this short little intro, or technically it'll be an outro at that point. But we'll figure that out. We'll figure it out. But let me know your thoughts on anything, y'all. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. Remember, y'all, this is a show where we just talk about how we're feeling about things, and we'll review these things together. If I say something wrong, please tell me. If you feel like I got a part wrong, let's talk about it. Let's have a discussion. We don't live in echo chambers. The whole point of the internet is so we can have a discussion about it. Remember, y'all, hit that like button, hit that notification bell, and hit that subscribe button so you can be up to date on all the videos that I'm dropping. We're only going up from now, y'all. This is 100. We're going to be 200. And we're going to get to 1,000. We're going to keep going because we cannot miss. We're here Monday through Friday, starting between 6 and 7, where we go over 4 topics of some of the craziest stories that you can ever think about. And we'll tell our thoughts on them. Tell our thoughts on them. We'll listen to what our audience has to say. Tell me what your thoughts are, y'all. Go and check out the channel. But that is it for now, y'all. Y'all already know I got to play the outro. But that was a good episode 100. Nothing crazy. But hey, that is it for now, y'all. Thank y'all for watching. I will be back here on Monday, starting at 6 o'clock, most likely. But that is it for now, y'all. Peace.